Good morning. Let's begin with the legs crossed. My name is Andree. I'm a yoga instructor at JCC in the Boston area. Today I'm gonna teach you the use of props to access some challenging position, challenging for some of us. And so we are going to use a chair for upward facing, a downward facing dog, and then we're going to use different props to access those poses. If you are, for example, we're going to do bow pose, and bow pose I'm going to modify it with some props. However, if someone you know you can do bow pose without any props at all, then you're totally welcome to do the pose using just your body. Okay. So let's begin. Props that you need. If you can set yourself up at a wall, that would be great, because I may mention wall as we go along. And also you're going to need a block, a chair, and a bolster or a couple of blankets. So the way a bolster is a running thing, so if you use blankets, you roll up your blankets, and I will go to that as we start the practice. So closing your eyes for now, connecting to the ceiling bones, pressing onto your support, so you can sit on an elevated support, or you can sit on the floor or on a block. And then you want to let your knees release down. So you're not forcing it, you just cross your legs, let your knees release toward the floor and away from each other. So once you establish a foundation of ceiling bones pressing to your support, then lift the spine, let the spine rise. So again, it's not a big muscular action. It's an energy action. So you feel the energy rise from the pubic bone all the way up to the sternum, to the crown of your head. Close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, observe the position of your shoulders by feeling your neck. How do you feel? Do your neck feel spacious? So you're letting the shoulders drop. So there's a gentle opening in the front of your chest. So have your head just hanging normally over your neck, so you're not having the head too far back or too far forward. Connect to your breath. So once you have your position, you should feel a sense of calm and aliveness. You feel alert. That's why this is the preferred position for meditation instead of Shavasana. As you know, when we do Shavasana, it's really easy to just fall asleep. So in that seated position, you find that sense, that place of relaxation and alertness. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Feeling the chest rise with the in-breath. Maintaining the lift. As you exhale, letting the whole body release. Feel the movement of the diaphragm. So we are going to do some back bending position today, and that's when we really make the connection of the psoas muscle hooking onto the diaphragm. So as you breathe, know that all those muscles are involved in the core action, which right now is the breath. Now let's open your eyes, and we're going to start lying down, and we're going to do pelvic tilt. Okay, so put your props away. If you're sitting on a block, move the block or the blanket to the side. You You're going to lie down on your back and have your feet hip width apart. Stretch the arms by your side. And I begin to curl the tailbone up and then curl the tailbone down. So I'm not lifting into a bridge. I'm just doing cat-cow pose on the back. Okay. Conscious of the breath. Make sure your feet are also rooted to the floor as you do that. And you may wish to, as you tilt the pelvic floor, stay in a position for a couple of breaths. Let's say you feel there's a position that may feel nicer to you. Stay there. For example, right now I'm just tilting the pelvic floor and I'm pressing my lumbar spine to the floor, and then as I exhale, I begin to go in the opposite direction. And let's do a couple of breaths here. You can even close your eyes to do that, so that you connect to the sensation of the movement of your spine. Notice where the breath lands. So now we're going to do a lift, but it's not like a full bridge position, it's sort of relaxing bridge. Okay, so you're going to curl the tailbone away from the floor and then lift off the floor. And then curl your spine back down. Keep those knees in alignment. We're going to do 4 more of those. You're inhaling on the way up, curling the spine away from the floor. Exhaling, starting between the shoulder blades, curling the spine all the way down. So for the next 3, let's just go. Inhale, lift. Exhale, slowly release down. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Rest here. And bring your knees into your chest. Pull the knees in. You may rock your spine from side to side. And you're going to cross at the ankle and lift yourself up and come to your hands and knees. Knees right beneath the hips and wrist right beneath the shoulders. So your knees are hip width apart, shoulders are, arms are shoulder width apart. Let's begin with the cow position, inhaling into the extension. Exhaling into the cat position, round your back. Inhaling. Exhaling. Let's take 3 more breaths on your own. Be very present with the movement and the breath. Let's take 2 more breaths. You may pause at the end before you move to the cat position. And then press your chest. Pose. Keep your arms fully extended. forehead coming to the floor if it's possible. Use a block for your forehead. And then now we're going to take a chair. So we're going to start with upward facing dog on the chair, moving in and out from upward facing dog to downward facing dog. So you take your chair, have the seat facing you. You come to your knees. So I place my hands right on the side of the seat of the chair. Okay, let's start with the toes tucked in. And then you're going to lift the knees up, come into an upward facing dog. Keep fully extending your legs back. And then exhale, press to downward facing dog. Inhale and keep the toes stuck, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Take 5 breaths here. Open the armpits of the shoulders. Open the back of your legs. Keep your ears between your arms. And now as you take your next inhale, come into upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. So you're lifting the kneecaps. Let's do that again. Upward facing dog. And now let's see, can you come, pointing the toes. Can you bring your pubic bone to the chair? Lift. Exhale. Press to downward facing dog. And then walk forward. So we're going to move the chair to the side. So this was one way to do upward facing dog, which is really good for people who have high blood pressure or people who have wrist issue. It makes it much easier to access the movement. The next pose we're going to do, I'm going to use a bolster. So if you were on the wall, I would have you press it. So imagine my bolster is the wall. Okay? I'm going to kneel here and I want my heels to go against the wall of the bolster. So I'm lifting up above my toes and then press the heels into the wall. Okay? So let's just set up this way. So you're at the wall or you have a support like I do. Okay? Keeping the toes tucked. You have to lift the knees, press to downward facing dog. So if here you're one of those people who have wrist issue or you have shoulder issues, then use the chair. If you're able to do what I'm doing, press the heels against the wall or onto the bolster to give you the leverage to extend the spine. Come to your knees to child's pose. You can let your arms rest by your side. Take 5 breaths here. And we are going to do dance one more time. Okay, so now you've done it once, so you know where to go. Having your heels against the wall of the bolster, press your hands forward, tuck your toes under, press to downward facing dog. Use that pressure underneath your heels to press the heels down, lift the tailbone, open the back of the legs. And come to your knees. So we are going to do dolphin pose today. Again, today's prop day. We're going to use a lot of prop. So we're going to start with a block that I'm going to place this way on my mat. You're going to take a strap and you make a loop so that when you place the loop on your arms, it should be right above the elbows. So here, that's pretty much the right width for me. Okay, so take the time to do that. The block is two positions of the hands. One, you can hold onto the block this way. So you have the thumb in front and our forefingers spreading out. Or you can hold the block this way with the palms facing the inner block. So that has to do with your shoulders. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to start with this one first. Okay, so you want to press the ilius down as much as you can, tuck your toes under, and press to dolphin pose. Don't force the shoulders. Press the forearms to the mat. And then come to your knees. Now, if you find that the strap was not quite right, you can now adjust the strap. And also, if you didn't like to have your hands flat, then I'm going to demonstrate now with this. So you place your hands to the side of the block. So one solution doesn't work for everyone. Some people don't like it this as much, and some people do. Okay, so now tuck your toes under and press to dolphin pose. If you're using your block this way, press your palms against the block. Take one more breath. And then come to your knees to child's pose. And just let your head rest on your forearms. Take 5 breaths here. Okay, we're going to do this one more time. Now that you try both positions of the hands, you can decide, you choose one, and let's do dolphin one more time. Okay. And come into your pose, lifting the knees up. You may walk in a little bit, and then stretch back. Keep the tailbone lifting. And come to your knees. Remove the strap. Okay, and you can either come to child's pose this way, or the arms extended, or the arms by your side. I'm going to choose to have my forehead on my hands. Let's take 5 breaths here. Let your mind relax and be present. And then sit up. So we did dog pose with the chair, and we did dolphin with the use of blocks and strap. Now we are going to do Chaturanga Dandasana, which is low plank, which is challenging for everyone to do. And we are going to use a block. So you're going to want to have the block underneath the belly. And this is a sort of there's a learning curve to this. So make sure that when you come down, if the block is not in the right place and it compresses you, then you want to adjust. So you're going to lie down, come onto your forearm to start, and press your belly onto the block. Keep your toes tucked So you're stretching way back, so your legs are active. Now bring your hands back, stretch the legs, and hold that pose, chaturanga, low plank. Press your hands to the floor, stretch the legs back. And then exhale, relax, coming into child's pose. So we're going to do this again, because we always do things in threes. What to think about when you're in chaturanga? What happens in your body when you do that pose? The first pose, as you're going to position yourself this time with your belly on the block, is to access the legs. So we're going to start with the head down, not worrying about the upper body, and just work those legs. And once we have connection to the legs, then we can begin to extend the spine, and that is going to lift the head of the shoulders with the arms bent. Okay, so let's lie down on the belly. So make sure the block is in the right place. Pause there. Keep your forearms on the floor from now. Now walk your feet in your bed so you have some traction behind you. And then lift the knees away from the floor. Now, bring your arms by your side. Keep the head down. Continue to use those legs. And then slowly begin to stretch into your pose. Breathe. And then come to your knees. Press to child's pose. 5 breaths. And we're going to do this one more time. Now, I didn't mention it, but if you had a wall, you could place the whole foot at the wall. So with the toes tucked in, having the heel against the wall, and then use the wall for traction by pushing your heels into the wall. Okay, this is the action you do in the middle of the room as well. Okay, but if you have a wall there, it gives you feedback for the action of the legs. So let's do this again, one more time. Keep your forehead on the floor to start. Tuck your toes under. Press the heels back. And then begin to stretch the front body up. Imagine you could lift off the block. And then come to your knees. Exhale to child's pose. And let's come to a downward facing dog. Again, you can take your chair for dog pose. You can take the bolster or be at the wall, the heels at the wall, or you can just do a regular dog pose. Tuck your toes under, press back to downward facing dog. Open the back of your legs. And come to your knees. So let's take 2 blocks. So we're going to warm up the quads and the psoas muscles in a low lunge position. Okay? Placing your hands on the block. Step your right foot forward. Pause here. So you start by shifting back onto your knee. And then extending the arms over your head and then release forward. Keep reaching up. Bring your hands back down to the block to move back to the knees. Step the left foot forward. Shifting back. Extending the arms over your head. And releasing the left knee forward. Bring your hands back to the block. And come to your knees. Move the blocks to the side within reaching distance. And go to child's pose. Keep extending the arms forward. Take 5 breaths here. And let's come to a seated position. We are going to do bow pose. And it's a pretty challenging pose, bow pose. Obviously it's a back bend on your belly. But if you have tight quads, tight psoas, and hamstring, you need the strength of the hamstring to do bow pose. So we're going to use props for that. So you're going to use, if you don't have a bolster like I do, you want to use 2 blankets. And you're going to roll your blankets, at least 1 blanket. I realize you may not have to. Okay. So it's a bolster and a block. Okay. So again, the block you adjust it as you come forward. So let me demonstrate what we're going to do. So you're going to lie down, and you want your pubic bone to be supported underneath on the bolster. Now you want the block to be supporting the ribs. So let's start here. You're going to just bend your knees and lift the front of the spine. Take 5 breaths here. Press the forearms. You're like in a Sphinx position. And then relax, release down. So now we are going to do the bow pose. So you want to be over the bolster enough that you feel the support underneath the pubic bone. You're going to bend your knees and you're going to grab your ankles. Let your head hang, and then begin to lift your legs up. And release. Fully relax in between, very important. And now let's bend the knees again, grab your ankle, and inhale, lift. Exhale, release. So make sure that you have minimal discomfort in the lumbar spine. So what is happening in the legs to enable to the back body to spread and avoid compression in your lumbar spine? So when you lie down, you grab your feet. You want to hug the knees in alignment. So that right there opens up the sacrum. And you want to press your feet up and back into your hands. So lifting the head can be the less that you do. Okay, so if you cannot grab your feet, then you should be very close to the wall and have your feet pressing into the wall. And hold. So let me imagine that I'm against the wall. So in this case, I would keep my hands on the floor or my forearms. I would bend the knee. And I would begin to lift. Okay, so this is for if you cannot grab your ankles. Okay? We're going to do this one more time. Bending your knees, you either grab your ankles or you keep your forearm on the floor. And then lift into bow pose. Exhale, release. Push back. Press the block and the bolster to the side. Come into puppy dog. So your butt is up and then bring your forehead to the floor. Breathe 5 breaths here. And sit up. So that was bow pose, using a bolster and a block, and maybe some of you were able to get into the pose. If you don't need the block, by all means do dolphin without any props. Now we are going to revisit the back bend on the chair. So let's say you don't have a wall. So if you could have your feet on the wall, that'd be great. But if you don't have a wall, again, you can use a blanket or a bolster. Okay? You do want to make sure that the back of the chair is not going to bite your back. Okay, so you can press a blanket there, or you can press a mat, folded mat. Okay, so adjust your bolster, or imagine if that was the wall, I would have my feet against the wall. You're going to scoot in. Okay, so some of you have done that with me before. So maybe this time it's going to feel more familiar. So hold on to the edge of the chair. There can be a fear factor that when you go back, you feel like, oh my God, I'm going to fall back. So just do it slowly. So you hold on to the back of the chair, you curl. So the head, my head is still forward. Okay. Now, once I come down, begin to stretch my legs. Then I go deeper into the back bend. I'm still holding on to the chair. I let the head hang naturally. Legs are active, rolling in, and then bring your arms over your head. Take 5 breaths here. Now you may feel the psoas, how they attach to the diaphragm, affects your breath. Keep the legs really firm. And then grab the back of the chair. Use your elbows, lift, come all the way up. Sit back on the chair and just rest here. So let's do this one more time. Okay, going into it. holding on to the edge of the chair. You scoot in. If when you go back, you're not in the right place, you're going to know right away because it's not going to feel good. So if it doesn't feel good, you want to come out and adjust. So ideally, you want the back of the seat of the chair to catch right at the tip of the shoulder blades, so slightly below the shoulder blades, so that you can let the spine expand. This is really good for your back. Okay, so as you come in, the tailbone stretches this way, forward. Adjust here, so you know which place to adjust. Keep going back. Stretch your legs. Let the head go back. So I'm still holding onto the chair for security. And if you need to, you just keep holding onto the chair. If you feel secure, that's when you bring the arms over your head. Or you can hold on to the legs of the chair and with the spine here. So you're lifting the chest up. Keep those legs fully active. Let the neck relax. And now slowly grab the upper part of your chair at the elbows bent to help you lift back to a sitting position. Let's get out of the chair. Let's move the chair away. Today we are going to have a longer shavasana because it's a lot of energy that goes in to the poses that we're doing this morning. So we're going to start by sitting on a support. So I'm going to take the bolster. You can take your blanket, 2 blankets, or even a block. Bring the soles of the feet together. You can hold on to your feet. Lift. Then place your hands behind you, so either on your supports and lengthen the spine. Close your eyes. Press the soles of the feet against each other. So you're using your arms to enable the opening in your groins. Feel the action in your belly. Now can you maintain that height? Hold on to your toes and pull on the big toes. Lift the spine. Keep stretching the inner thighs away from each other. Keep the belly firm. Breathe. So you've done the hardest part of the class. And now slowly bring your knees together. So I'm going to move so you can see me sideways. You're going to stretch both legs forward. Bend your right knee. Place the foot on the inside of your left leg. Letting the spine. You know, if that right knee is way high on the floor, then you place a block underneath your knee. It's always important. The reason we use blocks is to give the body the support it needs to achieve the movement. So if the floor is too far away, then you bring the floor up to your knee. Let's stretch the arms up. And then slowly hinging forward. You either use a strap or grab the foot. Lift the sternum so the chin is lifted. You're rotating toward your forward leg. Now grab your big toe with your left hand. Bring your knee, your elbow on the inside of your knee if you can. Begin to twist to your right. Stretch your right on by your ear. Breathe. Inhale, come back up. Stretch both legs. So some of you may not need any support underneath your hips. Just know when the props are useful and when they're not useful. I get feedbacks of that. People say, well, it didn't feel good for me to be sitting on the bolster. And if that's the case, then you don't use a bolster. And sometimes maybe a different height. You may not need that much height. So let's do the second side. Bring your foot on the inside of your right leg. Again, make sure that the bent leg is supported either with a block or with the floor. Okay, you're going to extend the arms over your head. Keep that right thigh rolling in and then hinge forward. Grab your strap on the side of your foot. Keep lengthening the spine. So we are twisting here toward the forward leg. Now you're going to grab your big toe. If you can, bring your elbow to the inside of your knee. Again, you may not be able to do that. If you can, then you just can do the pose this way. And then stretch your left arm by your ear and open the heart. And then inhale, come up and stretch both legs. Okay, let's come to a standing position. So we did a lot of spine extension, back bends. And now we are going to do forward bend, Uttanasana. So standing with your feet hip width apart. Place your hands on your hips. Now move the elbows back. Breathe here. Now bending your knees, begin to hinge forward. Feel the lengthening from the tailbone all the way to the crown of the head. Bring your belly to your thighs. Bring your hands to the floor. Inhale, stretch the spine. Exhale, begin to open the legs. Again, you can use blocks if you need blocks underneath your hands. Firm legs, relaxed spine. Inhaling, stretch your spine, bend your knees again. Place your hands on your hips and come up. So we are going to do two types of forward bend, and some of you may be able to do the second one, not be able to do the second one. So I'm going to demonstrate, for those of you who are very tired, because I don't want you to use blocks for this. Okay. So if you're not able, let me show you the pose first. Okay, so you're going to come forward into your forward bend. You're going to grab your big toes and pull on the toes and stretch the spine. And then you're going to release, open the elbows out. Okay. Now, if you cannot grab your big toes, then you're going to use a strap, and you're going to place a strap around the ball of the foot. Okay? So in fact, if you may not want to use a loop. So have as big of a loop as you need, because you can always walk back to it, okay? So place your hands on your hips. As you exhale, bend your knees, come forward, lengthen the spine. Now grab your strap, and then pull on the strap to stretch the spine. So those of you who cannot grab your toes, that's where you go. You exhale, open the elbows out, and release. Inhale into the flat back. Exhaling. Inhaling, come up. And We're going to do that again. So if you were using the strap, continue to use the strap. If you're not going to use the strap, we're going to grab our big toes. So this time, inhale the arms up. Bend your knees. Exhale to forward bend. Grab your big toes. Inhale, stretch the spine, stretch the legs. Pull on the toes. Pull on your strap. And then exhale, release into the forward bend. Keep the weight shifted toward your toes. Keep the kneecaps lifted. Inhaling, stretch your spine. Bend your knees, come all the way up. And exhale. So now you can repeat what we just did. Again, we strap and hold on to the big toe. Or we can do hands under the feet. So when we place our hands under the feet, you want your toes to touch the bottom of your wrist, okay? If you cannot do that, then you can definitely do that with bent knees. Okay, bend your knees deeply. Slide your right hand underneath your foot, your left hand underneath the foot. So you're here with your knees bent. So that can be done with bent knees, okay? Shift the weight forward. This is good for your wrist. Lengthen the spine. And see how much can you stretch the legs. And no, it doesn't matter if your legs are totally straight because this is for the spine. And then release. Keep the weight shifted forward. Even with your knees bent, let your belly hangs on your thigh. Keep your tailbone lifted. And then slowly bend your knees. Remove your hands. Inhale, stretch the spine. Place your hands on your hips and come all the way up. Okay, now we are going to lie down on our backs. We are going to repeat what we did at the beginning of class, the pelvic tilt. So you lie down with your knees hip width apart, feet hip width apart. Pause there. Now tuck, walk in a little bit so that you can almost brush the back of your heels. Okay, you press the feet down and then curl the spine. So here you pulling the abs in, so this is a bit of a core work, and then you begin to tilt the spine in the opposite direction, feeling the lower back lift away from the floor, but the sacrum is on the floor. And then again, tilting the spine in the opposite direction, giving your back a massage, and tilting again. So let's use the breath. Take a full breath for each movement on your own. Now let's turn the palms face up. Let the spine rest fully right now. Press the feet down. Tuck the tailbone in as you begin to lift your spine. Again, we're not going very high, we're just exploring the lift. Exhale in, begin to curl down from between the shoulder blades, the middle back, the lower back, until the tailbone rests on the floor. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhaling lift. Pause here. Exhaling curl. Now use the action in your core to make that happen. Take a moment to fully release here, relaxing the back muscles on the floor. And let's do that again. Lift up. Keep rotating the thighs in. And curl down. And you're going to bring your knees in, so you can either bring the knees in or do happy baby. If you do happy baby, you grab the outside of your feet. You have the arms on the inside of your legs. Okay, you bring the knees on the floor and you're pushing your feet into your hands. Flatten your back. So you're stretching your tailbone toward the floor. You're not trying to round your back. You're not trying to rock. Breathe here. Concentrate on these back muscles spreading on the floor. And then slowly release the feet. Now our leading into Shavasana is going to take a bolster or two blankets or one big blanket rolled in. Okay. So the bolster is right against your sitting bone. Even like if you're not quite sure, you can scoot in a little bit onto your support. Bring the feet together. Let's begin by extending the arms over your head, if it's comfortable for you, or just the arms up to the ceiling. And then bring your arms and place your hands on your belly. Now we're going to use the breath. As you inhale, you're going to push the belly into your hands. As you exhale, relax the belly away from your hands. So there is muscle action in the inhale, the rajas, the active breath, and this relaxation with the exhale. So you inhale, you open the belly. Exhale, relax. Okay, follow the rhythm of your breath. Do that about 5 to 10 more breaths. Relax. The knees are to the side. You want to mindfully pull the belly up, expand the belly with the inhale, and relax the belly with the exhale. Notice if you're holding any tension. So there's a bit of tension with the inhale. You want to let go of this tension as you exhale. Noticing the difference between action and letting go. And notice how your breath moves. We all have patterns in our breaths. So I notice for me, for example, it's much easier to really lift my chest, expand the rib cage, than it is for me to open the belly up as I inhale. So I just notice that. And then exhaling, you let go of any action. And now begin to extend your legs one at a time. You can keep the bolster where it is and just let your thighs drag over the bolster, or you can move the bolster down more toward your knees. It really depends on you. But what you want to feel is your back is melting into the floor. Now you bend the elbows and lift and slide the shoulder blades on your back. And then let your arms rest by your side. And close your eyes. Shavasana. sound of the band resonate through your body, through your mind. Feel the vibration in your body. Feel the nature of your breath. Notice any tension residing in your body. It could be in your fingers, could be in your toes, could be in your face. Bring your awareness to your forehead. Relax the forehead. Bring your awareness to the lips. Relax the lips. Practice feeling good. Now you're going to take a deeper breath, coming back into the body. And bend your knees and maybe place the feet on the edge of your blanket or bolster. Pause there. If it feels good, you can bring your knees into your chest. And roll to your side. Now don't get up right away, you stay there for a couple of breaths onto your side. And then slowly push away from the floor to come to a seated position, Sukhasana, easy pose, easy seated pose. Revisit rooting the sitting bones to your support. Feel the gentle lift of the spine and the drop of the shoulders. So to maintain a meditating position with the legs crossed, we exercise those deep muscles around the spine and around our belly to maintain the gentle lift of the spine. And you may feel some space, more space in the abdominal cavity. Just observe that. Now join your palms. With your next exhalation, bow to yourself with gratitude. Now may all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free of suffering. bow to yourself. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. I hope you learned something today, how we can use props to do poses that sometimes we take beyond our reach. And practice, take as much time as you need to practice those poses. And have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.